Hey toy fans, Aaron here. Today by viewer request, taking a look at Darth Maul, the final Duel version, which was released in 2000 on the Power of the Jedi line. And here you're getting a look at it on the card. Top left side, nice image of Darth Vader with the Episode 1 version of Obi-Wan in front. This was, as I've mentioned before, the combination of the Episode 1 line of toys along with the original trilogy. Through the blister, you get a good look at the action figure you're getting, and then off to the left is the front side of that Jedi Force file, an 8-page info booklet that you could flip out and read all sorts of things that I'll show later. On the back of the card, top right, you're going to get a write-up about essentially what I just said, the combination of the Phantom Menace along with the original trilogy brought out in this line. Off to the left, you got a handful of other figures that were also available in the time. And then down and to the right, you get a look at the back side of that Force file, which contains a photo of Darth Maul from the movie, along with a brief write-up and some statistics about him. And now taking a look at the figure out of the packaging. Overall, it's a good-looking figure, and I'm just going to get to this right away. The first thing that's going to really make this thing special is that he splits apart at the waist, held together magnetically, and it's a relatively strong connection. It's not just going to flop off continually if you move it around, so that's a good thing. Before we get in too deep with this action figure, I will say this is not the first time we've seen this feature on a Darth Maul figure. We had a version of this guy available in the Episode 1 line with the Deluxe 2-pack alongside Obi-Wan Kenobi. Putting those two figures up side by side, the only carryover from that figure is his right arm looks identical to me. His black glove is a little bit more glossy on this new release, but the rest of that arm is looking the same. Otherwise, main body, head, his left arm, legs, all of that are brand new on this release. Bouncing back to this Darth Maul figure though, looking at the head sculpt, things are really looking fantastic here. For the most part, the red painting is looking really good. Nice lines of breakage with the black designs running through his face and, you know, the forehead, under the eyes and stuff, around the mouth. On my particular figure that I opened up, a little bit too much black above his lip. The one that I still have carded is much better with the red coverage just underneath the nose. So obviously that's something that's going to vary figure to figure. Otherwise, I think for the most part, it's a pretty nice red painting being done. The horns on the figure are looking nice, although I do have some bleeding of the red up onto the horns. So once again, that is something that will probably vary from other figures out there. Paint job in the eyes are looking nice. A good orange color placed in there for the pupils. And then for the upper body, things are pretty scene specific here. This really is all about that breakaway feature, that moment in the film when he gets sliced in half. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it by now. So he does have that kind of wide arm stance, a little bit of shock to the body for being sliced. And since we had already received a handful of figures of Darth Maul at this time, I'm really okay with them presenting Darth Maul with such a scene-specific moment. And really with the arms out, I mean, I gotta say it isn't all that bad if you weren't kind of playing with him for that moment. Still looks like he's kind of ready for battle. Otherwise, though, the rest of that sculpting for the main body looking good. Nice ruffles and wrinkles and various folds sculpted into his costume. Through his chest, you can definitely make out some additional layers of those tabards coming over the shoulders and down under the belt with that vest sculpted in underneath, or whatever, the undershirt. Around the waist, pretty decent belt sculpting here. Essentially just some ribbed lines running around the waist. Off on the right side of his hip, you got just an ever so slight lightsaber holder there sculpted into that or molded into the belt. Nice little added detail there. It's just for looks. It doesn't serve any purpose to actually hold the lightsaber that comes with the toy. Otherwise, for the lower half of the figure, those robes just kind of continue. Flare out from the belt, maybe a little too wide. Could just be time, but things have pretty well flattened out and aren't as rounded out on the figure as I would like. But like I said, this is it's a 19-year-old figure, so age certainly could be playing a factor here in the way it looks. Underneath those outer robes, can't really see it, but obviously some pretty decent sculpting to the pants. Once again, just lots of ruffles and stuff sculpted in there, kind of draping over the top of the boot. And then for those boots, pretty nice glossy black paint job being done there. As for articulation, not a lot of movement in the head. Essentially, you just got that chin going to the collar of the shirt. But I think realistically, it still works out pretty well. At the shoulders, you only have a full swivel going on. Of course, with the magnet and separation at the waist, you can spin that all the way around. And at his legs, he is pretty hindered by those outer robes coming down and that hard plastic. You just get some subtle movement forward and back, really just enough to help play with the legs to help keep him standing properly. And then for accessories, he comes with a single-bladed lightsaber, because at this point in the movie, his lightsaber had already been cut in half, so we're left with half a Darth Maul lightsaber. Pretty decent sculpting for the hilt. Nice silver paint job being done, but otherwise, as you can see, nothing else added for the paint application. No blacks, no reds for the buttons. And as far as the blade itself, a very disappointing pale pink color. So this is definitely not the best version of a Darth Maul lightsaber we've seen, or any other red lightsaber. I guess they put all their money into putting the magnetic feature on. Aside from that, it does fit well in his left hand, and he still looks pretty good holding it. And then here's a look at that force file booklet. Nice image of Darth Maul on the front. And then as you open it up to the inside, you're going to get a look at his statistics, his skills, the gear that he uses, and the tech that he has. Little advertisement for the Jedi Quest Kids Club. And then flipping over to the other side, you get a look at his allies and enemies, some of the adventures that he's been on, and then what you saw on the back of the card, the brief write-up about him, and his statistics. So overall, for me, I do love this figure. I think it's great to have a Darth Maul that separates in half. I like the look on his face too, a little bit of expression of shock there as he is being sliced in half. And even if you don't play with him in that manner, it still works well as an action figure. Even though he's, like I mentioned, he kind of has that stance, I think it still works well no matter how you're displaying him on the shelf. So that wraps up this look at the Power of the Jedi Darth Maul Final Duel figure. I do hope you enjoyed this review. And as always, let me know what you think about this figure in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.